Hello YouTube, it is November 21st, 2021, and this time I'm not making a video about plants. I'm making a video about neopronouns, because I haven't actually mentioned it, comma. Okay, ignore that. I use speech to text a lot, so I might just say the punctuation out loud, because I'm used to that. Anyways, I'm non-binary, and I use neopronouns, so since a lot of people get really confused by neopronouns, I'm just gonna make a random little tutorial to show you how they work. I'm just gonna use he, him pronouns as the basis because they have the most distinct rules out of the three common sets. So these are he, him pronouns, and it's he, him, his, and himself. So when you were using a sentence, you would say, "That's my cat Ronnie over there. He is super cute, and he is not currently laying in his bed, he's just lounging on the floor." Alright? Most people who speak English should know how to use these. So, neopronouns, if you don't know what neopronouns are, they are newer pronouns that trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming people might use because they prefer to be referred to that way. I'm going to use ze, zem, zel, and zemself to demonstrate. It's the only cardboard I could find, so it's kind of hard to read. But anyways, whenever somebody is telling you their pronouns, if it's on the internet or through text, they will most likely write them out like this, usually in this specific order. They'll sometimes do she, her, and just shorten it like that. And if you are unfamiliar with the ones they tell you, like if somebody said ze, zem, you can ask them to spell out the whole thing, which will give you this. I need to find a better piece of cardboard. Oh, wait, never mind, I can just flip this over. Alright, we're just going to do it over here now, so let me write that out again. Okay, so there's the he, him, his, himself, ze, well, if I can write, and then ze, them, and then going to include a bunch of examples here. The ones with the stars next to them, he, she, and they, English speakers are guaranteed to already be familiar with. The rest of them are different neopronouns, although its you will also be familiar with if you speak English, because it is usually used for objects or animals or other things that aren't people. Like, if you see a deer in the woods, you would say, "Wow, look at that deer. It's standing over by that tree." Or like if a frog or a car or Like, wow, look at that tree. It's so tall. Those ones are pretty much self-explanatory. So we got Z, them, zel, themself, and if you just zoom out here, and then down here is Z, here. I might be pronouncing that wrong. I'm not sure if it's pronounced here or her. I've been pronouncing it here in my head, though. Here's and hereself. If you've played any of the Final Fantasy games or spin-offs, Moogles sometimes use this, so good for them. Or in that case, good for here. Or I don't know what the plural would be. Yeah, I guess it'd be good for here. Okay, anyways, if somebody tells you that they use neopronouns, you can ask them to write it out for you like this. And then, this might look confusing, but here's how you use it. If you are talking about a person who uses he, him pronouns, you would say, he is standing over there. That's him by that tree. Yep. If you were talking about someone with ze and them pronouns, you'd say, that is them over there. Z is standing by that tree. She, her, that's her over there. She's standing by that tree. They, them, that's them over there. They are standing by that tree. And with they, them pronouns, it's a bit different from the rest because these are considered plural pronouns. It's usually used to talk about a group of people, like they are standing over there. That's a whole group of people over there. But non-binary people might use them because it's not gendered like he or she is. So when you say they are, it's plural and using the word are rather than is. They are over there versus he is over there or she is over there. If you didn't know it, the he, him, she, her, and they, I might be saying things wrong, but anyways, he, him, she, her, and they, them pronouns all already use different rules. If you were to write out a sentence and then just try and do Control F to find and replace the pronouns, it wouldn't work. You can't just take out the word she in a sentence and replace it with they. You have to rewrite the entire sentence, and that applies to he, him, and she, her too. Because, okay, let's say that is her sword. It belonged to her mother. Well, now I can't think of a word. But for her, or she, her, you almost always say her. You only say hers in specific examples, which I can't think of any right now because I didn't write a script for this, because I'm lazy. So anyways, and I have ADHD if that's not obvious. Anyways, neopronouns are not nearly as difficult as you might think they are at first glance. Once you get used to using them, it just becomes second nature. They all follow the same rules that have already been set up by they, them, she, her, or he, him. So let's say, I'm just going to write a random sentence. Z is going to the store. And we're using the Z, them there because that one's I made that one specifically because it has distinct forms for each version, the same way he, him does, so that it could be easier for people to understand. So Z is going to the store. Z is going to buy, let's say, cat food. For Zell, new kitten. Because, see, if you go up here, he, him, his, that's the possessive version, Z, them, Zell. So, Z is going to the store. Z is going to buy cat food for Zell, new kitten. The way you would say, she is going to the store to buy cat food for her new kitten, Or he is going to the store to buy cat food for his new kitten. Here. Yep. And this is really rambly because I'm doing it on a whim. But anyways, neopronouns are not difficult. They are not nearly as difficult as transphobes would make you to believe, and no trans person is going to flip their shit on you because you are honestly struggling and genuinely want to learn better. It's when you insist that it's too difficult and you're not going to try and it's stupid that they will get mad at you because you're just being a jerk. Let's see. Okay. I just forgot what I was going to say. Well, anyways, if somebody asks you to use neopronouns for them, just ask them to write them out for you like this. And then you can go in your head or even on a Word document or something and just write the pronouns out, and then write the ones that you are more familiar with, and you just go down and you draw arrows. And every time you would say he, for this example, you now say z. If you would have said him, you say them. If you would have said his, you say zel. If you would have said himself, you say themself. And there are a few more rules that go with these. Usually the last form, the self form. I don't know anything about the proper names for any of this grammar stuff, so I'm just going with what they obviously are. So the one that says self at the end, like himself, herself, theirself, that will almost always have the second form in the beginning, like himself, well, him, himself, them, themself, and on and on. They, them is different. It'll depend on each person whether they use theirself or themself or themselves. That one just depends. Its is also a bit different because you kind of just use it, and then its is just possessive. And then this one's, yep, so here, self. So that's a pretty easy rule. So as long as you know the first and second, you will know the fourth, and then you just have to ask what the possessive one is. And I might be making this sound complicated because I'm rambling, but it's really not that complicated. So if somebody asks you to use neopronouns for them, all you have to do is figure out which form they go in and which words you replace with the new ones. And this works for pretty much any neopronouns because so far I haven't seen any that break any of the already established rules that have been set up by they, them, she, her, and he, him. If you don't believe me that they all already work with different rules, just open Microsoft Word or Open Office or whatever and just write out a random sentence about a person using he, him, she, her, or they, them. And then just hit Control F and then find and replace every one of those pronouns and replace it with one of the other ones and see if all of the sentences still work. Because they probably will not. Neopronouns are not any more complicated than the existing rules and grammar in our language. It's just that you are replacing old words with new ones. And all it takes to get used to them is practice and genuinely wanting to learn. If somebody asks you to use new pronouns for them, or a new name for that matter, you can practice in your head with sentences like, if you're going to the movie theater, not that you should be going to a movie theater in a pandemic, because the pandemic is still happening in 2021 if you've been sleeping under a rock, you can say, let's do, Z is going to the movies with me later. We're going to watch, I assume these work the same way as she, her, but I'm not sure. So we're going to watch her's new favorite movie. Or we are going to the movies later with them. Insert whatever name. Let's just say Jessica. Jessica and I are going to the movies, and they are going to buy me their favorite flavor of popcorn for me to try, or something like that. Practice makes perfect, and if somebody asks you to use new pronouns for them, whether it's neopronouns, like these, or just old normal pronouns, if you only ever try to use their pronouns when you're talking to them, you are going to mess up, and it's going to be embarrassing and hurtful for everyone. So just practice in your head before you actually talk to them, because the more you practice, the faster you'll get at it, and it'll become second nature sooner than later. Alright? It's November 21st, 2021. So, yeah, there's my really random video about neopronouns. And if you think trans people suck or are confusing or are embarrassing, just fuck off my channel. I don't want you here. Just for the record. Okay. Everybody have a nice day unless you're a transphobe. Goodbye.